Everyone tells the middle class the same thing. Work hard, save what you can, and hope it adds up by retirement. But nobody explains the actual math behind how ordinary savings turn into real wealth. And when you see the math, you realize the whole game has a rhythm that nobody talks about. It is called the 843 rule. And once you understand it, you will never look at your modest monthly contributions the same way again. Here is the basic idea. It takes roughly 8 years of consistent investing before your money hits a meaningful milestone. Then it takes only 4 years to match that entire 8-year result. And then just 3 years to do it all over again. Same paycheck, same monthly transfer, completely different outcome. The reason most middle-class families never experience this is because they quit somewhere around year 6 or 7, right when the math is about to flip in their favor. They look at that balance, compare it to a decade of sacrifice, and decide the whole thing was pointless. That decision cost them everything. Today, I want to walk you through how this 15-year cycle actually works for someone earning a normal salary, why the early years feel like you are throwing money into a black hole, and how the final 3 years can do more for your family than the previous 12 combined. We are also going to talk about the traps that hit middle-class investors the hardest, the hidden fees, and behavioral mistakes that can quietly sabotage the whole thing. Let us start with the first 8 years. I call this the testing phase because it is really a test of your character, not your portfolio. You set up an automatic transfer, maybe 300, maybe 500 a month. Whatever you can scrape together after rent, groceries, car payments, and everything else the middle class juggles. The money goes in every month and the market does its thing. Some years it climbs, some years it stumbles. But because your total balance is starting from nothing, the actual dollar growth feels embarrassingly small compared to the effort it takes to free up that cash. In year 4, you pull up the account and think, I have been skipping dinners out and driving a 10-year-old car for this. The balance is barely more than what you deposited yourself. The market's contribution looks like pocket change. This is the moment where middle-class investors are most vulnerable. Because unlike wealthy families who can afford to be patient with money they do not need next month, you feel every dollar you redirect into that account. You feel it when the dishwasher breaks, or when your kid needs braces, or when the transmission goes out on the family car. Every month that transfer goes out, there is a voice in your head asking whether this money could be doing something more useful right now. And that voice gets louder when you look around and see your coworker flipping crypto or your neighbor buying a boat. It looks like everyone else found a shortcut while you are stuck in the slow lane. But those shortcuts almost never end well. Here's what that voice does not understand. You are not investing for returns yet. You are building critical mass. You are packing together a snowball that is not big enough to roll on its own. The 843 rule says it takes about 8 years. It is not glamorous, but if you survive this phase, the physics of your money fundamentally changes. Now let us talk about the 4-year acceleration. This is year 9 through year 12, and this is where middle-class investors finally get rewarded. Your balance has reached a size where the market's contribution starts matching or exceeding your monthly deposits. For 8 years, you were doing all the heavy lifting. Now, the money itself is pulling equal weight. This is the turning point that separates families who build generational wealth from families who stay stuck on the treadmill. In just these 4 years, the account tends to grow by roughly the same amount it accumulated over the entire previous 8 years. You doubled your speed without working a single extra hour. You did not get a raise. You did not start a side hustle. The math just changed because you stayed in the game long enough. You start checking the account, not with dread, but with genuine excitement. Your old contributions from year 1 and year 2 have been quietly multiplying in the background for a decade. They are now generating returns on their returns. You survived a market dip or two, and now you have the emotional armor to keep going because you can see the momentum with your own eyes. But as satisfying as that acceleration feels, it is only the warm-up for what happens next. Phase 3 covers years 13, 14, and 15. Just 36 months, but in this short window, the compounding curve bends upwards so sharply it almost looks like an error on the chart. This is the hockey stick, and you cannot skip ahead to it. You have to earn your way here through 12 years of consistency. In these final 3 years, the portfolio adds another block of growth, roughly equal to what the previous 4-year phase produced, which, remember, was itself equal to the first 8 years. Your monthly deposit at this point is almost irrelevant. The interest is earning interest on its own interest. You might wake up on a strong market day and find your account gain more overnight than you take home in a month. It feels sudden, but it is not. It is 15 years of quiet discipline finally expressing itself all at once. This is exactly why cashing out early is so destructive. If you pull money at year 10 to renovate the kitchen or pay off a car loan, you are not just spending savings. You are amputating the exponential phase. You are cutting down a fruit tree the season before it was going to produce. The majority of the reward in this cycle is backloaded in a way that punishes impatience and rewards stubbornness. Let me put some numbers to this so it feels real. Say you invest $400 a month into a simple diversified stock fund. That is $4,800 a year. Not a fortune, but a meaningful commitment for a family living on $60,000 or $70,000. We will use 10% as an average annual return, which is roughly what broad equity markets have delivered historically over long stretches. After 8 years, you have put in about $38,400 of your own money. With growth, your balance sits near $55,000 to $60,000. Not life-changing. Now you keep going. By the end of year 12, your balance has pushed toward $110,000. You nearly doubled in 4 years what took 8 years to build. Then comes the finale. By year 15, your balance is approaching $170,000 or more. In those last 3 years, the account added roughly $60,000. And remember, your total out-of-pocket contributions over the entire 15 years were only $72,000. The rest is pure compounding. Here is something that does not get talked about enough. Volatility during the early years actually helps you. When the market drops 20% in year 3, your brain screams danger. But you are in the accumulation phase. You are a net buyer. A crash means you are buying shares at a discount. When the market recovers, those cheap shares multiply faster than anything else in your portfolio. A dip in the early years is not a crisis. It is a clearance sale. So what does this mean for how you manage your money? First, it eliminates the temptation to chase hot stocks or crypto moonshots. Real middle-class wealth building is a 15-year project at minimum. You stop asking what is hot right now and start asking, what process can I maintain for 15 years without interruption? That naturally leads you to boring, repeatable systems, automated transfers, broad index funds, dividend reinvestment, the unsexy stuff that actually works. Second, it makes starting immediately the most important financial decision of your life. Every year you delay pushes that exponential phase further into the future. If you begin at 25, you reach the vertical climb at 40. You have time for a second or even third cycle. Start at 40 and you do not see it until 55. You can always earn more money later, but you cannot create more time. Time is the one resource you cannot dollar cost average. There is also a silent threat that hits middle-class portfolios harder than anyone else: fees. If you are paying a 2% management fee to an advisor or a high-cost mutual fund, that drag compounds against you just as powerfully as returns compound for you. Over 15 years, it can consume a terrifying portion of your growth. It flattens the curve right when it is supposed to go vertical. For a middle-class family, investing $400 a month, that fee is the difference between retiring with dignity and retiring with anxiety. Keep your costs under 0.25% and let the math do its job without friction. Here is your action plan. Step 1. Name your 15-year goal. Retirement, your kids' education, financial freedom, whatever label keeps you disciplined when things get boring. Step 2. Automate your contribution so it leaves your account before you can talk yourself out of it. Treat that transfer like a bill you pay to your future self. Pay yourself first and build your lifestyle around what remains. Step 3. Pick a simple vehicle. A global equity index fund is enough for most families. Do not overcomplicate it. Complexity is the enemy of consistency. Step 4. Protect the timeline. Do not raid the fund. Do not pause contributions because the news is scary. You are not just managing a portfolio. You are managing your own behavior. If you can stay boring and consistent for 15 years, the math does the rest. That is the deal the 843 rule offers the middle class. The effort is front-loaded. The reward is back-loaded. Your only job is to survive the slow years so you can enjoy the fast ones. Plant the tree, water it every month, and whatever you do, do not dig it up to check whether the roots are growing. If this changed how you think about your savings journey, subscribe to the channel. I break down the hidden mechanics of money for people who were never taught this stuff in school. Hit subscribe so you do not miss the next one, and I will see you there.